Hello, welcome to the TalkCast Pod Show, where we're going to talk about the Fantastic Four.
The Four Fantastics.
The Fantastic Mr. Forks. But before we get to that, it's absolutely new hotness. I want to take a little swing at a few things that I've been catching up on in the rundown here. First of all, I know you haven't played it yet. You don't have a Switch. What would...
I mean, I have a Switch, not a Switch 2.
Switch 2. Right, because right now all that's really on it is, Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. But Donkey Kong was enough to sell me on it. I played a demo of it, and I was just kind of mesmerized by its mechanics. Man, nobody does that shit the way that
Nintendo?
That like main Nintendo team does it. That Mario Odyssey team, like just mwah. It is beautiful, wonderful, fun. It is the only game I am currently playing on the Switch 2, and I don't know if there's ever going to be another one. But I am enjoying it for what it is. What do you think it would take for you to get a Switch 2? Do you think there's like something out there that could persuade you other than a massive price drop?
So the problem with me, unfortunately, is kind of twofold. One, yeah, they just do not have enough games.
Yeah, I have a $1,000 Donkey Kong machine right now.
Yeah, I don't have something to really push me yet. I think Donkey Kong looks I think Donkey Kong looks really fun, and sometimes it looks very pretty. It really bothers me though how ugly the game really, like, I've seen some playthroughs and there are times where I'm like, oh, this looks ugly as hell. And I don't know how to feel about that because I don't see anybody else commenting on the fact that sometimes this game just looks really gross.
I think it's one of those things where when you have your hands on it and you're actually playing through it and you actually have like the mechanics and you're like really working with what the game actually is, you don't think about some of those muddier visuals maybe, because there have been frame drops and things like that where if there's like too much going on screen, I've noticed them like juddering and slow down.
To be clear, I'm not talking about the slowdown necessarily. I'm talking about like weird looking textures or just things with lack of textures. The like how things collide with each other and how they like everything just looks and feels like it's an older generation derogatory.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with like the diminishing returns of like, as the generations of consoles go on, because even the Switch 2, I don't think it's on the level of something like, the PlayStation 5, let alone a good gaming PC. So you're always going to run into those limitations, especially with a handheld device.
And that's ultimately fine for me because when it comes to the Switch, that's not what I'm looking for. I had the original Switch. I loved my original Switch. I loved all the games I played on the Switch. But I get told, hey, now you're going to have to pay this much more money to get a new Switch, and the games aren't going to look all that much better. And frankly, I don't think they look all that much better. I've seen everything with Mario Kart World. And by the way, Mario Kart World would have sold me if it weren't for the fact that every time I look at that game, it feels so empty. Like everyone I know who's played it has talked about the fact that it's incredibly fun. The grinding mechanic is actually spectacular. Apparently it's very fun to play, but then when I look at it, it isn't. It feels like since they wanted to go with that new feature, the whole grinding thing, and they wanted to make it open world, everything feels wider and thus more sparse.
I know one of the biggest contentions is like that Grand Prix mode or the World Tour mode or whatever, when you have to like race between the tracks, and all of the in-between stuff just feels very, okay, we're just on a straight road. Maybe there's like something going on here. To me, the biggest holdback for Mario Kart is just the fact that to me, it always will be a party game. So single player, it just kind of feels a little hollow to me, and that's kind of all I got right now. And I played it a little bit. It is fun, mechanically great, but Donkey Kong is the main event for me.
I think I definitely think that it might be easier if you could easily get into a public race with friends, but you can't because Nintendo's still a bunch of I do not. Nintendo, can we talk? Can we talk? Please, I just want to talk. I really do. Because you gotta stop making it so difficult for friends to play with their friends. You sometimes you make it
getting
easier.
Like friend codes and all that stuff. I haven't interacted much with Nintendo's online functionality, so I can't really speak to its efficacy, but I know it is not universally praised.
Yeah, it's gotten better. The online store is way easier to navigate, looks better, still has a bunch of garbage on it, though, something that they still haven't figured out. But it frustrates me because, and look, I don't want everything to be on Steam necessarily, but I do want everyone to steal.
You like the
from
functionality
Steam.
of it.
I do. Everyone needs to steal. Why don't we steal more? Steal more. Like, honestly, why isn't every player like the fucking Netflix player? I'm sorry, it should be.
There's probably a number of computer engineering reasons for that I couldn't possibly comprehend.
Probably. I mean,
yeah.
And not to mention with the way that copyright works, there's a possibility it's like, oh, you stole our UI.
Yeah, they have something proprietary, whatever.
Which is absolutely bullshit. I hate that shit. I hate that shit so much. Though the way that copyright works in that space is a nightmare, and frankly, it needs to be overhauled significantly.
Yeah, it's less copyright and more like patents and a trademark. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, so that's why I'm not playing on the Switch 2.
If you have a Switch 2, I recommend Donkey Kong. It is quite good.
It looks fun. It looks fun as hell.
It's very fun.
And the fact that everybody I know who's played it has become addicted to it is a really good sign.
It makes me happy. It makes me smile.
Every time I see clips of it, I'm like, damn it. It's not moving the needle for me, but it at least I will say this. If they continue this trend, then Nintendo's still looking up. Oh, I was going to say the other reason, by the way, that I'm not buying a Switch 2. I'm not paying $80 for your fucking game. Eat shit.
Yeah.
I've always been of the mind that if you want me to pay more money for your games, then you need to be able to guarantee me that, one, I'm getting a finished game, which none of you motherfuckers can do at all anymore. And number two, you need no paid DLC. I'm sorry. No.
I'll say Donkey Kong definitely feels like a finished game. Is it an $80 finished game? I don't know.
I mean, again, like, is it an $80 finished game? I mean, if you look at the way inflation works and pricing, yeah, sure, you can make that argument. Yeah, you can make the argument of like, yeah, look, this is we made the game like effectively on a good budget, but with the way that pay works, it's got to be more. But with that comes a whole lot of other shit. Like, again, you cannot just bombard us with a bunch of paid DLC. You can't give us an unfinished game, and you've got to give us support. Like, if you can't do that, then no, I'm not gonna pay more money for your games.
That said, one of my current go-to favorite games in my rotation is Hades 2, which is an unfinished game. So
that's okay. I've been holding off on playing that because they're about to do the final update. So
yeah. Sometime in the next few months, it should be launch complete.
Yeah,
I finally dipped my toe back into it. It's more Hades 1. And it's like near complete. Like the only thing they don't have is like the ending and a few extra little odds and ends, but that's it.
Yeah, once that's done, I will pick that sucker up immediately because obviously Hades is one of my favorite games. It's in my top 10. It's definitely.
I know you were really digging on Hades 1 after I was like pushing you, like, try it out. You'll like it.
It's my favorite roguelike. No question. So I've been keeping my eyes and my ears very close, which luckily, funny enough, I kind of forget that the game is even in early access. Nobody talks about it. And I think maybe part of that comes down to the fact that there are definitely people who are playing it. But I wholeheartedly believe that a majority of Hades players haven't touched the game because they are waiting for the final one.
Yeah, I only started a month ago and the game's been in early access for like, what, a year or so?
Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm going to play it as soon as it is the final version drops. The only game, funny enough, I've ever played in early access is a game called News Tower, which is all about just building a tower for a news corp in like the 1930s, which I love that shit. I'm all about that kind of shit. So,
well, speaking of the underworld, another thing that I caught up on, didn't really talk about previously, and we'll go into like a little bit here because I'm sure we've both seen it. K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh yeah.
Fucking blew me away, man. Like I saw the stuff that everybody was posting online with like the over-exaggerated animation out of context. I think it still looks like I love the stylistic choices they made, but when it's in context and you're watching it within the movie, it's like, oh, this fits. This is great. And I absolutely love the tiger. The tiger is such a fun little guy. They got that like Bert and Ernie energy with him and the bird. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, I love them both. I love them both so much.
Just trying to stand up the buckets and pots.
They're both so good, and my favorite like. This isn't too much of a spoiler, hopefully, but just the line of like, so what's up with the hat? I actually made the hat for the tiger, but the bird keeps stealing it.
Taking
and the bird
yeah.
just I'm like, I love these two. They're the best characters in the entire movie, no question. And I love them. And I know that I am almost certain at this point that the show is going to get a series. It kind of feels like this was a angling for a show. And
I'm happy with it being a one-off as it is, but I could see there being more for sure.
So in the best of all worlds, I'd see another film. And I say that only because I want the art and animation to be good, and I want the songs to be this good. And
oh my god, the music just blew my damn mind. Like
what's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Oh, it's hard, but it might be Golden. I just love her voice. Her voice is spectacular in that. But it's crazy because I remember like when I started watching the movie, and then that song came out, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard this. It escaped it escaped its zone and just kind of found its way into like one of my random playlists.
Yeah, when it escapes there's a term for that. It not escapes quarantine. But containment. Yeah, it breached containment and it started making it onto everybody's Spotify's because everyone was like, some people watched the movie, looked it up on Spotify. Then the song suddenly started to take off. People heard the songs, and then everyone went to watch the movie. The movie was doing okay. Then the songs hit, and everyone was like,
"And then the movie blew up." It's been like top 10 on Netflix for like I think it's holding a record right now for how long it's been in the top 10 on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. The movie is this movie could have released at a better time a couple of years ago, if only just because that's when the K-pop craze really started to hit off. But we're still in the middle of it, and this is going to blow. Like, if we thought the K-pop craze was starting to die down, oh boy, this just gave it a shot in the arm.
It's just good music. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is. It's really
it defies genre.
My favorite is still Idol. Your Idol, the one near the end of the film where it's
that one's really good when they're like at the climax.
Evil boy band. Oh my god, yes, I'm all about it. The fact that the baby-faced one, when he raps, sounds like the most masculine, deep voice guy in the entire movie. It's such a good parallel. Not parallel.
Goo Goo Gaga.
Yeah, Goo Goo. Yeah, I love him. Also, Sungwon Cho was like voiced one of them.
Abby, right?
Yeah, he's Abby. Which man, it makes me, every time I see him show up in something new, I get so psyched for him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, great film, great songs, great visuals. Oh man, the movie would not have hit nearly as hard, I think, if you didn't have these great looking characters striking amazing poses at just the right moment. Like the moment I realized, oh shit, this movie is actually kind of peak, was during that plane scene when they're all just casually jumping out of the plane. I was like, oh, okay, the style is on point. Everything's on point. This shit is fire. I love it. Oh,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the same animation studio that did Spider-Verse, right?
Yes, it's Sony,
I believe
Sony
I heard
Pictures.
that.
Sony Pictures is having a bit of a renaissance, and I'm praying that they keep this up, because if they can keep this energy and this creativity up, they are going to eat everyone else's lunch. And
I feel like they've already, then again, I feel like DreamWorks has kind of come for Disney at this point. So like it feels like Sony Pictures is also kind of like right on their tail. Although I did see the trailer for Zootopia 2 today, and that's honestly very refreshing to see a good trailer for a kids movie that doesn't give away the whole damn plot.
It's interesting. Well, I mean, it is a teaser, and teasers are more likely to not give away.
I prefer this method than showing the plot.
Look,
because it gives you hints of what the plot is.
Yeah,
but you don't like, oh man, like good thing we did that. Yeah, I hate that shit.
It's not just giving you scene by scene by scene by scene, which that shit. Like, at least, okay, it could be worse. We could be back in a time where you have a narrator just telling you all these characters and what, like, like, I'm glad we're past that. But luckily with these animated movies, you can just like create a whole teaser bespoke. And that's what the first Zootopia did. The first Zootopia did it so good with the explanation of anthropomorphism, it was a really good way to kind of introduce you to the world. This one, the world's already been introduced, so it's
just going to explore more of it.
Yeah, it's less creative, honestly. But yeah, anyway, Sony Pictures, I'm praying to God that they keep this up. Whether or not DreamWorks can, unfortunately, DreamWorks has been kind of like a little bit here or there. Kung Fu Panda 4 is garbage, and I have no idea if Bad Guys 2 is going to be any good.
But Puss in Boots' Last Wish did a lot of damn heavy lifting.
Yeah. You have Puss in Boots was so good. So if Bad Guys 2 is good, then unfortunately Kung Fu Panda 4, unfortunately Kung Fu Panda just remains a trilogy.
Yeah. I never saw the fourth one, so I have very little intention to.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, K-Pop Demon Hunter is fantastic. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it already, though I'm guessing a lot of you already have. But
yeah, probably.
I just wanted to bring that up that I've seen it and I like it. That is the long and short of it. Speaking of long, Mr. Fantastic, the Fantastic Four,
okay.
and this movie felt very long, but in a good way.
Okay, so I have a bit of an opposing view on that one, but we'll get into it. So, what did you think about the movie, like, generally?
Overall, thumbs up. Very much enjoyed it. I liked that it was a genre piece. I loved the choice of style. I loved the bright colors. I loved the way they introduced us to their versions of these characters. Yeah. And I liked that they didn't try to constrain themselves into, kind of shoehorning themselves into the current continuity. Just letting this Elseworld stuff shine because it let it have its own style.
Thank God for that beginning where it says Earth 83. It was 838.
I don't fucking know.
Don't care. It's a different Earth.
Different Earth. Don't care. That's all I needed.
Yep.
It's like fine. That tells me everything I need to know. It's just a very cartoony world where the Fantastic Four are these like serial heroes that fight people that the newspaper would name like the Red Ghost and the Mole Man. And
can we? Okay, this is easily one of my favorite, most creatively realized, bespoke city designs, stylized city designs since Tim Burton's Batman. I loved it. Oh my God, the retrofuturism.
Yeah. And they set a great tone for the movie, which allowed it to kind of play out like this, like a golden age comic book.
Yeah. They set everything up to be like, okay, you guys know what this is all about. This is a classic comic book universe. There are like sentient gorillas. There are mole men. You know what you're in for. So let us tell you that it reminded me a lot of The Incredibles. And that is wholeheartedly a very, very well-meaning comparison.
Of course. The Incredibles owe a lot of their identity to the idea of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So it being evocative makes sense.
It's sort of great because it's sort of like eating each other's, like, I love that. I'm all about that. I love when something that inspires something else then takes inspiration back. That's how this shit should work. I love that. And man,
they played the family dynamic so well. Yeah. That first dinner scene is so good. Like where Johnny's just kind of like poking fun at the two of them for being nervous, but Ben's kind of like putting it together, and then like that little smirk is like, you're pregnant. Fucking great. I loved that whole scene.
You know what my favorite part about Ben Grimm in this entire movie is? And it's the most prevalent in that scene in particular. Seeing his normal ass actor, I can read his expressions. Yeah. I can tell like, oh yeah, this is exactly how that guy would have behaved in this scene. I can see that. I can feel it in the performance. That little grin, that knowing like, okay.
We've come far enough where the CGI characters, the fully CGI characters feel real. Like he still looks like a CGI character, but he feels real, and that's all that's needed.
Unless you're a baby.
The baby had, like, honestly, still the best looking CGI baby I've seen, but it's still a CGI baby.
It's only one or two shots, to be fair.
They composited the face, I think, on a real baby's body, like in some of the shots. So like it's this good blend, I think.
There is one in particular shot that, and honestly, half the special effects in this movie are spectacular, half are good, fine, whatever. But there's a small amount of them, just a scant few bits where I'm like,
enters that uncanny valley. But you know what?
Hold on, I was gonna say, hold on. I just want to say the one that really threw me off was when Ben's holding the kid on the couch, and I'm like, oh, that looks terrible.
I didn't notice it because I think the colors and the style choices in the movie really help mask the incongruities, that like uncanny valleyness of some things, because the universe and everything in it already looks and feels very cartoony.
Yeah.
That when something like that happens, as long as it's not your direct focus, it doesn't really take away from anything and doesn't like pull me out at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So like I give like a big thumbs up just in terms of that. But one thing I really liked about this movie was the fact that it wasn't just, you know, another beat 'em up, bash 'em superhero movie where like at the end they blow up Galactus like the Death Star or something. It was actually a superhero movie, but the superheroes are doing an Armageddon.
Yeah, it's a really, so okay. Here's where I find myself a little at odds with the movie. I really like it. It's definitely, it's actually probably in my top 10 MCU films now. I don't know where it is, but it's very bluntly there.
It really helps that it feels like it can stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the movie itself reminded me of that first phase, and that is
it can exist in a vacuum, without problem.
At worst, I'd say it's phase 2, which actually might be a bigger compliment because let's be honest, some of the best came from the second
Winter
phase.
Soldier.
Yeah, but it wholeheartedly feels like an MCU that is comfortable with itself, but isn't tied to itself. And that's, it's such a good feeling to just get this standalone story. But that being said, I adore the fact that we don't get it. We get an origin, but it is like 5 minutes of the movie. We spend so little time with like the backstory of how they got their powers, and because it does play a little bit into everything, especially their kids, so it is important to have it. But there is a part of me that is a little bit sad that we got this Fantastic Four movie where it's like, yes, they are already well into the career. Cool. A+. But we're going to introduce something that's going to change their whole dynamic, and this huge villain that is one of their biggest. Like, moving up from here is going to be tough because, like, you know, without spoiling anything, like Doctor Doom. We go to Doctor Doom from fucking Galactus. It's a little tough. And so the reason I'm bringing this up and what I'm really trying to get at is that it's a little bit sad to me that we got our first Fantastic Four movie in the MCU and it kind of feels like this could have been the last movie. It feels like this could have been like the big ending for the Fantastic Four. Because, you know, you have the kid coming along that's supposed to change their whole dynamic. You have Galactus, who's a fucking galaxy-level threat. Okay. It's a little sad because I would have loved to have seen more of their adventures about fighting, talking, or like sentient gorillas. I would have loved to have seen them going up against the Mole Man. I would have loved to have seen more of these characters doing that instead of just getting this big climactic story.
I guess, but I don't know if I would like those movies more.
Yeah, that's fair.
I really like how this movie presented itself in that you understand their relationships so well. And that's what this movie does that other good Marvel movies really succeeded with, and that was focusing on the characters and their relationships. I was talking about this with Stefan on the way back because I saw it with him and Jesse. And like, you know, even in some of like the worst Marvel movies, you know, like Thor: The Dark World, they still did some things well in that, like, you know, the relationship between Thor and Loki in that movie, some people can still remember very fondly, even if the rest of the movie's kind of dog shit. Whereas in this, like, you know, you have an overall like really good plot, but the character dynamics and the way that they kind of work together, you understand their vibe in less than 10 minutes of the movie. And while we do kind of just get the broad strokes of this is why they are who they are, I appreciate that. I think we both appreciate that. Like, we don't need an origin story. We don't need another one of them flying out into space or going into a cosmic teleporter and getting smacked in the face by rocks.
I love the way they handle it in the movie. I genuinely liked it.
Just got hit by cosmic radiation. Bam, that's it. Okay, now they have powers. That's all you need to know. That's all anybody cares about. It's like, it's the same thing I liked about Superman. It's like, superheroes exist. Fucking deal with it. Like
that whole opening sequence, the framing device, A+. Oh, that's so good. Having a guy
as like a pseudo documentary on like a talk show.
Yes. Oh, Way to go, guys. You nailed it. You figured out the quickest way to get us introduced in media. Like, oh, let's do it.
Yeah, great. No notes on that. And I really loved that this movie, while it had like enough action to kind of keep you going, it was more about the family dynamic, the family drama, the things that like you see about each character that the other one lacks. Like Reed is all very much like, I have to plan for like the inevitable problems. I see the harsh truths of the world. Sue is like all heart and like connection. Johnny is a romantic, a bit of a fuckboy. And Ben Grimm is just this, like, when it comes to science, Ben Grimm isn't going to be doing much, but he will get shit done. He is the dude that will, pilot the ship. He's there. He is like kind of like a heart, and he's like the older brother of the team.
Yeah. It is so Ben's dynamic with Johnny is so phenomenal. Because and here's okay, so the real star of this movie, actually, honestly, they all have their moments, but the I think the best example of how this all works so well is actually Johnny. And and the reason I say that is that Johnny is a snarky character in an MCU film, and boy oh boy have we gotten sick of them. But the way they do it with Johnny is that he's not always making jokes. And two, when he's making jokes, it's usually with another character or off of another character in a way that is supposed to probe them or move them or
his dynamic with Ben Grimm is perfect. Like just the way he like pokes him like the little brother, the pesky little brother.
And it's so good because when you do that, when you give him a reason to be snarky, when it actually interacts with the plot, it feels like, okay, it's not just, haha, he's the guy who makes jokes. No, he's the guy who jokes because that actually forces other characters to say what they're thinking, or it alleviates the stress of a situation, or it's just him like not fully understanding the situation, but trying to. And I loved that about him. He's so likable in this movie, despite the fact that he is supposed to be the jokey guy. And that just comes down to the amazing script. Yeah, everyone here is on all cylinders. Oh my God, Sue Storm in this.
She was probably my favorite character in the movie. She was so well written. She she's the emotional face of the team, even though like, when they need to make presentations and talk about stuff, it's usually Reed talking. She's the one that's out there trying to bring together the world.
Yeah.
Because she's got like, she's the heart.
You want a better comparison between her and Reed? His public statement versus her public statement.
Oh, for real. Like Reed is very pragmatic. It's like what makes them again, what one character lacks and the other one makes up for is what makes them the Fantastic Four, where Reed is all cold calculation, logic, and anxiety. Sue is empathy and trust and love, like just really trying to bring a face and a heart to a situation that seems hopeless.
So before we get into spoilers, because I feel like at this point, if I don't talk about the real meat of this, I'm going to explode. I think this movie is really solid. It is a really... the one thing, again, the last thing I'm going to say before we get to spoilers, that is a criticism of this movie, and this is something that you apparently kind of disagree with, but maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from after I say it. I do think it could have been longer, but I only say that because we have a very limited scope in this movie. And to the point where it's this worldwide threat, but you never see the rest of the world outside of one sequence where we see everyone working together. And that sucks because this New York is amazing. Like I said, I think it's one of the best realized, like, fictional stylized
depictions of New York,
fictionalized stylized movies in film since Tim Burton's Gotham, which is still, oh man, that's still near the top for me. I would have liked to have seen Tokyo. I would have liked to have seen more of France. I would have liked to have seen other places in the world reacting to this. We see such a limited reaction to the things that are going on that it really kind of just felt weird, like we weren't getting the full scope. And it's made even more apparent by the fact that there's a song in the credits that I wholeheartedly believe was supposed to be part of a segment where there's a cult of Galactus that was supposed to be like a part of the film, not like a integral part, but there was probably going to be like a side like scene where we see some of that, and we barely get any of that, and that was a little sad to me because again, everything we see is good. It's all good. Mm-hmm. It's what we don't see that actually left me a little bit disappointed.
There's something to the idea of wanting more of a good thing. To me, I feel like you risk the too much of a good thing kind of situation. Like if you did want to focus on like let's say, you hobbited this shit and you tried to make like a little series of we need to get ready for Galactus because that's essentially like if you wanted to focus on more aspects of how the world is coping with this, almost kind of what you'd need to do. You'd need like a mini series kind of situation set up because it feels like you'd be introducing way too many plots to try to resolve. Whereas in this movie, it focuses so well on the family drama by making it a smaller scope of a movie with such a catastrophic problem. You make the characters more of the focus, and I think that was very much this movie's benefit. I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of wanting to see how more of the world works and functions, but it's also something that I'm not sure that I would like need.
I'm just saying in response to Galactus.
Sure.
And that was the thing. And even like Quinn sorry, just to kind of like draw a parallel, like Independence Day, when you got to see how each and every city was reacting to the fact that there are motherships just kind of floating in the atmosphere, and you got to see how some places were reacting differently. Some places were more violent and riotous. Some places were more like, welcome invaders, and some places were fucking scared and sheltering. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. And I only say that because the movie does have like it feels a little like the message is undermined when we're not seeing the rest of the world, and yet we're hearing about it, and it's supposed to be, we all have to come together. We all have to stand up for our world. Okay. Yeah. Can we see some of the other people talk about this? And also,
and you get like zero pushback. Like it's one of those idealism things where it's like, yeah, I wish humanity acted that way, but I know it doesn't.
Yeah, and not to mention, I feel a little bit bad about this because I love her place in the film, but there's this one woman who's constantly interacting with them, like as their liaison almost. Like between her,
yeah, they're almost kind of like a press manager or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is because like I swear to God I was paying attention to the movie and I loved her. Every scene with her was so good because I love her interaction with the family, but I don't know who that is. Right. I don't know who she's supposed to be because the movie spends so little time with her. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess
She basically is just like a public liaison, somebody who like speaks for them when they need to, like a manager or something.
Yeah, I mean, and again, she's great. I just have no idea who she's supposed to be, and that was a little bit like, oh dang, what is her deal? What are we supposed to know more about her? Probably not, I guess. But
when are we getting her spin-off on Disney Plus?
Right,
like, yeah. Which I'm very happy that they announced they're going to be doing less of that moving forward. Where you're not going to have to watch like a billion things to understand the next thing.
Okay, she's Lynn Nichols, the CEO of the Future Foundation. She's like she's the face of the Future Foundation. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Why she is the go-between between the Fantastic Four and the government and all that stuff. Totally get it now. Again, she was great. But yeah, I actually kind of missed that. I feel like an idiot. Like I was hanging on every line of this film. I was trying to pay so much attention.
Yeah, I understood the function of her character without like needing to know exactly who she was, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe I am that guy who needs the Netflix telling you everything. I'm so sorry.
You need the wiki afterwards.
I'm so sorry. My brain rot has progressed too much.
You are the target audience for the 55 things you missed in the Fantastic Four. Number one.
I might be. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But no. But that's why that is. But to my point, ultimately, I don't think it made the film. I wouldn't say it is a black mark on the film that we didn't get more time with these other side characters. I'm just saying, yeah, I think even just like you would have bumped the runtime up by maybe 5 minutes, but just a little bit outside of the family and this New York, I think would have been to its benefit.
Yeah, we got some newsreel stuff that kind of covered the idea. Like, I did like the implication that, like, the cult of Galactus is climbing Mount Everest. It's like, they want to be the highest elevation so they can be the first to, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it was enough context clues for me to be like, okay, I can see how the world's interacting, but I care more about the core story, which thankfully to me is what the movie focused on.
And it's very good. I feel like now that we've kind of
I do want to address one more non-spoiler thing.
Okay.
What'd you think about Galactus?
He's good. He's good.
I think casting Ralph Ineson was a great choice, although they did put like a filter over his beautiful, silky, bassy voice.
Hey, I still heard him loud and clear. Like, I thought
his first scene was a bit too digitized because it was in that like echo chamber of a room they were in. But as soon as he was in like a more open environment, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah. I at first I thought, that's not Keith David.
No.
But that was just because when he first starts talking, they're bass booming him. He's coming in deeper than like he usually he regularly does. But yeah,
and he's in an echo chamber, like a massive resonant sphere.
Not gonna lie though, if it had been Keith David as Galactus, I mean, I would have complained.
I could see that voice too. I would not complain. I do think it's a great cast for Ralph Ineson, who ever since I heard him speak in The Vivitch, I'm like, more of that, please.
Yeah, he plays the role great. He's good in this. This is a good Galactus. It's a good Galactus.
I like that they had like a humanoid Galactus, and it didn't feel silly.
Amazing.
Like, Galactus on a concept is a silly concept.
Let's be honest. It's a mixture of two things. One, they did a bit of redesigning with him to not make him all purple and purple.
But he still had the color scheme. It was just a darker toned down purple as opposed to like the bright purple and green.
And the other thing that they did, and this was the smart thing, and here's, oh my God, aesthetics. They knew how to, like, it does not break the style of the film. It does not feel uncanny because they've set the style. Like the world is
already very cartoony.
Yeah. Once you've set the style, once you've set the tone, you can introduce a villain that looks like this. And it works. It's great. It's good stuff. And so, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay, the last thing I'll say. The other critique that I have, and this one's a little bit minor, I would have liked to have seen in the film more uses of their powers individually and more uniquely. They do use their powers a lot in the film, but damn, kind of feels like we don't get a whole lot of moments where the stretching actually is necessary.
That's actually something I really liked, is the fact that Reed's power isn't, like, he doesn't see his stretching as a superpower. He sees it as a utility. Because that's not what he's about. He's not about, I can reach you from here. It's, I'm really fucking smart. And I can stretch. Okay.
All right. Interesting point. Let's get into the spoilers then. Now we can really talk about like the meat.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the core, like, ultimately this is a movie about like sacrifice and what you would be willing to sacrifice for the greater good. The key central hub of this all around Franklin Richards and the fact that he has this monstrous, godlike, cosmic power within him. And Galactus is like, wait a minute. And I like that they feed in the idea that Galactus is just kind of cursed with this everlasting hunger. Because, he's kind of like a Promethean kind of Sisyphean tragedy when you think about what he is. He's this cursed with this infinite hunger. And he sees something that's like, wait a minute. That thing can hold my hunger. I can finally be free of this. And you know what? You guys can get off. Like, so he wants to like Rumpelstiltskin their baby away to basically take a curse off of him. But in doing so, you're potentially cursing your baby, and like you might be saving every single soul on Earth. But what's going to happen after? And do you forsake your child for everything?
That scene, oh my God. So this is so indicative of Reed Richards as a character. That scene where they get back and he's like, we don't have a public statement ready. and then he just tells the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, oh man.
Are we safe? I don't know.
Well, okay, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, sure, that part, but why on earth would you be honest that Galactus gave you an out if you gave up your kid? Why would you say that, bro? Why would you ever say that publicly? You didn't need to do that. No one was there. No one was gonna know.
I think he comes from it from like this very ethical, logical side that's like, this is what it was. Like, because literally everybody on the planet Earth looks to him and trusts him. And I think there's like that part of him that in his core would not betray that trust no matter what. And I find that, like, you know, kind of charming about the character, like where his logic doesn't realize, because he has like such a logic brain that he doesn't realize that level of emotionality, or maybe he does realize that level of emotionality that people have, but he projects his own logic mind onto them. It's like they'll understand. So
Reed Richards in this is such a great character, so multifaceted, so interesting. There is a part of me that does wonder, was that too stupid for him? Was that too out of realm for how he should have acted? I have no idea. I'm not sure. And I say that because, yeah, sure, we can talk about the ethics of it, but, you know, you're gonna cause a mass panic. And also, people aren't gonna trust you when you say that you sacrificed all of their lives for your kid. So there is a matter of practicality, of pragmatism, you know?
I think it was a thing where he talked himself into a corner, because like the reason that he gave that away is because like we tried to negotiate with Galactus, but his price was too high. That was his slip. At that point, it's like, okay, well, now I have to tell them what the price was, and I can't make something up.
And you know what? That when I was watching it, that is kind of where my mind went. I was like, oh shit, don't tell there's a price. Then what do you say? What was the price? You have now you have to be honest.
Yeah, so exactly.
I actually really like that as the explanation of he didn't go into it planning on telling them everything, but unfortunately, the more honest he was, the more he said the more benign stuff, it unfortunately locked him into having to say the stuff that was gonna piss everyone off. So to that extent, I can be like, yeah, you know what, that makes sense.
And I think there's like also kind of getting into the psychology of it, maybe that part of him that wants to be held accountable, because he did make that choice literally for everyone.
Yeah.
And he kind of needs to bear that himself, because he sees himself as the only person that can fix this.
Yeah. So, and that's a very interesting perspective, because as I said, I think the pragmatic choice would have been to keep it to himself.
Of course.
But there is a good point about how we don't always act pragmatically. And sometimes... go ahead.
The man literally just like helped his wife birth his child in space while trying to escape the gravitational well of a collapsing star. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, he's more emotional than usual.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it all makes, like, you know, when you lay it all out, it all makes sense. I think that part of the film, I was like, oh, this is the messiest part of the movie. Not in terms of like the quality, but I mean in terms of like, oh shit, okay, everything is like, because I'm actually sort of glad that they went the route of him just saying it up front, because I feel like people have to know that that's the stakes here. That they have to know for that scene with Sue Storm talking to everybody to really hit as hard as it does, where she comes out and says, I will not sacrifice my child for this world, but I will not sacrifice this world for my child. It only works if they know, and I'm glad that they found out via him being honest rather than it being revealed some other way, because oh boy, do I never ever want to see a liar revealed ever again.
Yeah. Where this movie actually has a lot in common with Superman in terms of like how it feels and how it flows, and how the relationship between the characters is like a massive focal point that really kind of drives these great moments. And where Superman had that reveal of like, oh, Superman isn't who we thought he was, and then this movie not having that, I think was a great, like, good. I didn't need that twice in a row. I didn't need them to be like, wait a minute, they could have given up their kid, those bastards. Rip that Band-Aid off right away, and you can focus on the meat of the story, which is Reed and everybody trying to solve this Armageddon like catastrophe that's trying to come in here. And it's what led to us being able to have these great scenes between Sue and Reed. Their scenes were some of the strongest in this entire movie by far for me. Them discussing what needs to be done, what can be done, and knowing that their child is at the very center of it, and neither of them wanting to get too close to that, but both of them knowing that he is going, like Franklin Richards is going to be key to solving this issue, but he's just a baby and he has no say.
So I wanted to talk about this a little bit earlier, and I'm a little bit sad I didn't do it before the spoiler. Though hopefully, I'm just hoping that people watching this have already seen the movie. Yeah. One of my favorite performances in this movie is Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, and it's interesting because I did not like the casting at first. When I heard that he was going to be Reed Richards, I was actually bothered by it.
Just like, oh man, Pedro Pascal and another thing.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I won't lie. I like Pedro Pascal. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy. Fuck J.K. Rowling, just like he said, your boss. But I'm kind of tired of seeing him and everything, and also he's not my first choice.
I'm curious. Do you feel the same way about Nicholas Hoult?
Because
he's in everything.
So I'm a little bit less familiar with Nicholas Hoult, actually. In fact, I think
he was in 2 Dracula movies recently. Obviously, Superman. God, he's been in like so many other things. I think obviously he was in X-Men Origin or the X-Men First Class series as Beast, and like he just he has been everywhere. Like he's popping the fuck off.
I will say I've seen less of Nick Hoult and I have seen more of Pedro Pascal, but my point being, ultimately, while it was a little bit of also I've seen him in everywhere, also I was like, Reed Richards never kind of, the way that I've always seen him, he's always looked more like lean and skinny and kind of wiry. And Pedro Pascal has always been this kind of like more rounded features and like a little bit of also a little bit older.
He does have wholesome dad look about him.
Yeah, he's got a very wholesome dad look. So when I saw, I was expecting somebody who was going to look a little bit more like a dick, honestly. But this Reed Richards, the way that he's written, the way that he's portrayed, it's perfect. I was like, as I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is why they went with Pedro Pascal, because his direction here. He is selling this man who is emotionally invested, but he has trouble expressing emotion sometimes. And he is so dedicated to thinking logically through everything that and no scene hit harder than that scene with
that
Sue,
argument.
The when
it's like, I don't want to think this stuff. I think this stuff because I want to avoid it from happening. Like I need to think the bad things so I can make them go away.
Yeah. And oh my God, I can't tell you how hard that hits as somebody who is constantly thinking about horrible things every day, and just that feeling of running through my mind of like, okay, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? I think that is anxiety most people can understand, and the idea that is coarse, that is paramount to his character, who he is, and just seeing that distress on his face. Oh my God, Pedro Pascal, he sells that so well.
That is so core to who like modern Reed Richards in the comics has been. It's the same trait that can lead him to do the greatest good for everybody, but can also turn him into the worst evil imaginable.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of get that Ultraman thing going on where, you just kind of want to control everything. And as soon as you control everything, what does that make you? It makes you like a god, a monster.
The phrase, it's logical, it's ethical, it's available.
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm like, okay, look, I have to admit, if I were one of those people, I would have also said, give up your kid, you fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course I would. Who in the world wants to, like, if it's one child or the world, yeah, I'm sorry, we're not stupid.
Especially when you don't have the context for it of like, if he does give up the child, you don't know what comes next. You know that he's going to do something to the child that could turn the child into the same monster.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, even then, even if you have that context, does that really change things all that much?
I don't know,
but that,
like, maybe the Earth would be entirely spared at that point. But do you doom the rest of the universe? Where's the ethics there?
I mean, ultimately, you're still dooming the universe one way or the other because, you know, I mean, yeah, sure, you can
one way or the other with how this movie ended. It does just kind of seem like kicking the can down the road, delaying the inevitable.
Yeah,
they didn't kill Galactus.
Nope.
He's just somewhere else.
And that being said, but the point I was trying to get at is, while I would have absolutely been one of those people who's like, yeah, give up the kid, morons, I fully understand their position. I understand why they feel the way that they do. That speech from Sue Storm is so good because it is her saying, like, look, I can't. You can't ask me to do that. But in return, I will give everything to try and protect you. And I love that. I love that. It's a really good argument of, I can't make that sacrifice, but I'm not going to sacrifice you either. And that's it's because moral dilemmas like this are so good for superhero films. It's kind of like core to why they can be such good stories. And so I really like that Reed Richards in this has to be the guy who has to look at both sides and understand that. Sue's over here like, I get it, but fuck him. And she's like, I can't say fuck them. I can't say fuck them because I have to understand what they're feeling.
And while her message is, heartfelt and hopeful, there is still that side of like pragmatism that's like, okay, but what are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
I'm glad that it did lead to the like some of the even just the sentimental platitude of moving heaven and earth is what it took to get Reed to the point of move the planet. Like a little silly that's what it took.
Take the planet and
put it somewhere else. You mentioned earlier that you felt like the movie could have been a little longer because you didn't get a good sense of time. I actually thought it did time scaling very well, better than a lot of its contemporaries because you do get a sense for time passing. Every now and again, you see like, Galactus just passed Venus or something like that, and you'll see in the neighborhood as they're traveling around, like the seasons are changing. Sue is getting a little further along as things are going. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what? Okay. I actually felt that the passage of time was very well translated.
Actually, funny enough, Quinn and I struggled a little bit with that. Man,
really?
We watch movies better than we do, apparently.
I guess. I don't know.
But
take an edible before you see movies. It helps.
Yeah, I should start doing that. No, I genuinely, oh God, I was going to say something. Shoot, I completely lost track.
Was it poignant?
Yes, it's
would it have won every argument you ever had?
Everything I say is poignant and should be heard. Wasn't it about Johnny? Oh, okay, yeah, now I remember. Okay, we're back on track. Silver Surfer. I don't like her a lot in this movie.
Yeah, she was definitely the most underbaked element for sure. For the type of impact that she had.
I get why she's here, and I like her parallel with Sue a lot. She
has a good dynamic with Johnny, I think.
Yeah.
I think their scenes are very good.
But she is easily the most undercooked part of this. And there is a part of me that wonders if it would have been better if she had even more reduced role, or she had been more of a focal point. And
that's a balance that I agree this movie kind of struggled to hit.
Because we're supposed to have this whole side story with her, and frankly, and I hate to say this because I like Johnny in this movie, and I actually like the way that Johnny interacts with her, the way that develops is the least interesting part. Because it's like, oh, well, I now I have one sentence from her that I can now extrapolate her language from. And, okay, look, I'm not going to say Johnny should be stupid, but damn, is he usually that? Look, I haven't read Fantastic Four comics, okay? Like, all of my Fantastic Four stuff came from years ago. I've read a couple of stories with them.
Yeah, the general impression I get from Johnny is that, like, where... Sue is the heart, Ben is the brawn, and Reed is the brains. He's the charm, the charisma of the team. That's always been the vibe I've gotten from him. That's not to say that he's supposed to be stupid. No, because he's still he's still amongst the scientists and engineers here.
He's an astronaut. The man's not dumb, but it's like, damn, bro. Okay, like if I guess he had months to do this. I think so. Yeah, there's that. I'm not saying
a better part of a year and enough to kind of like figure out certain things. Like I can believe listening to these messages over and over again coming from the same spot that you can pick out a name, that you can like extrapolate a proper noun out of a string of words that repeats over and over, and that maybe you can sort of figure out some like context clues and stuff.
Yeah, my point being is if Reed Richards had done that, I would no questions at all. No. The fact that Ben does say he barely has a grasp of the English language. Yeah, actually, no, that the way that you presented him in the film, you've given us no reason to believe he's smart enough to do this. This is a kind of a jump. And also, it's taking up a lot of time with a character who, again, frankly, is not that interesting. Largely because we only get her backstory kind of halfway into the movie.
Yeah, most of the way through.
And it's one scene, and then she fucking disappears.
To have like a miraculous face turn at the very, very end.
Yeah. A little clunky, guys.
I agree. I agree that is the most underbaked element. That said, I do believe in the idea that Johnny is the best person to try to extrapolate the language, because they do portray him very much in a similar way to Sue, where he has more empathy and he can kind of like when he's describing her, like it goes back to like their first meeting and he's describing how she said something to him, the way she looked at him. It's like, okay, he's getting context clues by how like her vibe. He's good at reading vibes.
The word he was looking for, and I wanted to say it in the theater, was empathetic. She's looking empathetic. Yeah. And the fact that he doesn't know, I love that. I love the fact that he's like...
She was warm, she was nice, she was like, I don't know, like...
Yeah, she's showing empathy because she doesn't enjoy this job. She'll do it because she has to, but she doesn't like it.
You think she could have chosen an emptier planet? Like...
I do think there might be something to the planets she chooses.
Like they need to have life on it, kind of going back to the Eternals idea of like, this planet needs to be populated enough for the Celestial to feed.
Yeah, I think that is a part of it. Because one of the other planets, and I really loved this whole the way they did this. We only see like one other planet get consumed, and we get this shot of the planet and like these heat signatures, and there's animals running along the surface, all stampeding in panic. And I loved that. I was like, oh, that's a great way to kind of show that this planet there's life on this planet, and it's going bye-bye. And I do think that they have to be inhabited. There has to be life for him to get the nutrients he needs.
Yeah, the cosmic radiation that created life or something is what feeds him.
Yeah. And so, like, ultimately, I think she is kind of the weakest part of this film, to the point where she is that one that takes it from a 9 to maybe an 8 for me. Just how her whole plot, I was like, damn, you came so close to me actually liking you as a character, but ultimately you're just kind of a plot device now. And oh well, okay.
Yeah, it's rough when it comes to like the Silver Surfer, because again, I liked her interactions with Johnny, but it's just that thing where that was the part that I think needed to be sacrificed in the story in order to focus on the true meat, which was the relationship between the four themselves and the specifically the new dynamic between Reed, Sue, and their baby.
Yeah. That being said, I really did like what I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about Johnny. I don't know if Johnny, like, okay, you said Johnny was the best to extrapolate the language. I think Johnny was the best to interact with the Silver Surfer. I think he was the best fit to find empathy and connect.
And I think that's what gave him the motivation to be able to kind of extrapolate the bits and pieces of the language he was able to, because he has that connection. He has that charisma, that person-to-person dynamic that he Yeah.
Also, I have to give them credit. Using the female Silver Surfer, you know, not only did it create a connection between her and Sue as like this mother who is sacrificing worlds just to save her own and her children, and, well, let's be honest, someone for Johnny with a girl, okay.
Yeah.
That's such what a great pick, because yeah, you could have made it a guy and Johnny could have like, you know, empathized with him, but let's be frank. Well, it's not romantic necessarily. He is that kind of guy who's like, he finds a lady and he's like, no, I have to understand her.
Yeah, and just that thing's like, look, I had a moment with her in space, all right? It's like, I know what you're thinking, but
I loved that. I love these. I love these four so much.
Everybody was characterized so well, like Johnny being reckless, and that like he's told like, look, if you decide to flame on, you can do it for maybe 10 minutes max, and he decides to burn out most of it just to have a moment with her.
Right.
But that also played a part in like him being able to solve a big chunk of the mystery later, you know?
And yo, that, like I said, the script on this is so tight. Because nothing happens in this movie that doesn't ultimately feed into something else. Like, even all my problems that I have with the Silver Surfer narratively, they still function. They still have a purpose. And, like, with Johnny, all of his jokes, all these moments, there's a purpose. They serve something later. And yeah, like you just said, if he hadn't have been reckless like that and spent a lot of his oxygen, he couldn't have learned to understand her and then use that later. It's all really good stuff. It's all like, I know that I'm complimenting very simple filmmaking, but god damn it, it feels like a
lost art sometimes.
Sometimes. Especially
in this binge watch miniseries culture, you pick up a lot of nuances, but you lose a lot of the basics. It's kind of like Bruce Lee says, I do not fear a man who knows 10,000 kicks, but I fear a man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. If you go back to basics and you just focus on the fundamentals and you write, you can still write your nuances and stuff into that, but you gotta focus on the core of your story. This did that very well. The family dynamic, the idea of like, what does it mean? What is sacrifice when you have a child? What would you give to protect the world? And something that Superman did very well, which is just focus on what it means to be human.
Yeah. And between this and Superman, been eating real well with superhero stuff lately.
A lot of people have been asking, like, which do you prefer? Which one's better? I don't fucking care. Mm-mm. They're both good. I like both of them. If I really had to choose one on a rewatchability scale, probably Superman. But I think they are both great, and I'd watch this one again. Superheroes doing an Armageddon, I thought that was a great choice for genre.
Yeah. Well, it's a really good, man. Yeah, we haven't talked, like, I haven't talked too much about that. I've talked about a billion other things, but yeah, I really like that angle. The fact that it's, okay, we've got, like, the end of the world is coming, we've got to do something to stop it. And, all that set up, it's great. It's a great conundrum. It's perfect.
Yeah, you and I both liked Project Hail Mary, the book. You looking forward to the movie?
I don't like Ryan Gosling as the main character. I feel like they needed to go with somebody who...
They needed somebody schlubbier.
Yeah, they needed someone a little bit schlubbier. Yeah. Ryan Gosling's hot. And anyway...
ultimately, like, it's that same thing. You love that idea of, like, humanity coming together to try to tackle this big, like, apocalyptic problem. And I liked that as a genre choice for a Fantastic Four movie, because that's what they do. They solve cosmic level threats on a weekly basis. That's their thing. Even though, like, what are their superpowers? A guy that can light on fire, a woman that can create force fields, a man that can stretch, and a rock. Like,
and yet, I believe it. Honestly, I was wondering, okay, how are they going to do this whole thing with Galactus? Because they're not prepared to fight him. But the clever thing that they did, and I think this was such a smart move. Whoever in the scripting process was like, we need to somehow make a reason for him to get off of his ship and go onto the planet. Why would he ever do that?
Because he doesn't want to destroy the baby.
Because he needs the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is smart. And I know it's simple. It's so simple. It's so easy. They may not have even needed to have like come up with that. That might have just been natural in the scripting process. But as somebody who knew who about Galactus and was like, how the hell are they going to make this team fight Galactus? Okay, yeah, you did it. That's a real smart move. And so, yeah, and the fight, it looks great. Like,
yeah. I love when Sue made that like refractory sort of like lens for Johnny to fire his fire through to kind of like amplify the burn on him. Him kind of dive bombing with Ben Grimm and just like hucking him like a rock in the side of his face. Reed being the smart guy who knows the mechanics, who just like, I need to open the ports on his back. Smart. And then Sue using mom's strength to just like fucking go. I loved that bit.
Man, also the power of chromatic aberration. In terms of, okay, I'll say this. In terms of visualizing her powers, this was kind of unique. And part of me was like, okay, am I underwhelmed by this, or is this just the right amount of a real mixed with fantasy? And I ended up falling more on the latter. I actually really liked the way that it looked. I feel like in some places they could have done a little bit more to visualize how powerful it was. But other than that, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an unfathomable cosmic energy. How do you really visualize it in a way that doesn't look too cartoony?
I feel like,
but cartoony enough to fit in universe.
I feel like the way they could have done it was probably like showing how it was interacting with the environment a little bit more. I think that's how you probably could have done that, because I feel like that's how anime does it a lot. Though anime often has the benefit of being able to show physical looking representations of immaterial objects, whereas in live action that would come off as, well, like a cartoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think they did that really good here. And I wanted to say that because everyone's powers in this, they all look great. When I remember when I was originally watching those trailers, it was a little iffy here or there. In fact, I hate to say it, I think the one character who looked the most iffy was Johnny, and only because there were a lot of scenes where he's fully flamed up, but they have to do something which doesn't make sense if you know about how film works. Which he's totally on fire, but you can still see all these features. There is an uncanny valley effect, because if you've ever seen something on fire, you shouldn't be able to see a lot of that. It's kind of like the Kamehameha. A real Kamehameha, if it were materialized, would be so blinding you wouldn't be able to see it or anything around it. Right. So when you have something on fire like that and you can still see all the facial features and looks normal, no.
That said, I think the stylistic choice was correct, because I've seen Fan Four Stick and I hate how that looks.
Oh yeah, no. We want to talk about who did it better. I mean, every single step of the way, this movie does it better.
For sure.
Including, oh my God, the score. The music.
Oh, the score is great.
Oh man, the Fantastic Four theme, way to go.
And how they implement it in various like compositions throughout. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So good.
Yeah, excellent. Overall, great. Highly recommended. I was thinking to myself, if I was a kid going to see this, would I have been entertained enough? And I feel like it would have drawn me in enough. There were enough like action climactic beats, them trying to escape from Galactus the first time, and then them having the final conflict with Galactus, which while you never really believe that they stand a chance in like a stand-up fight, you buy it by the end how they win.
Yeah. And it all comes down to everybody utilizing their powers in the exact right way.
And again, that idea of like mom adrenaline, the mom that can lift the van off of her children's because the baby needs her. And, it strikes that same emotional core where I love the idea of parental martyrdom in movies. Like that trope always gets me.
Yeah.
And it hit here the same way.
I actually did feel quite emotional during that last scene where he sets the baby on her. And there was that part of me that like felt that like, oh my God, of course you'd want your child to be there, even if it's to see her dead, because God, like it's such a dark, it's a dark and sad moment. But there was that part of me that was like, also like, okay, but Jack's got to show his powers, right?
Yeah, and you also notice that part of Reed where one scene that I loved with him and the baby was like, the more I look at you, the more scared I get and the less I understand. So I think I'm going to wait for you to tell me who you are.
Oh,
I loved that. I loved that scene. And like him capping it off with, but if you are some cosmic space god, it would be great if you told me sooner rather than later. So there's that part rattling around in Reed's brain. They're like, maybe this will work. It's something I don't understand. And then it does, and it's just beautiful. It's like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
When Franklin gets quiet as he's like crying over his mom, it's like, no, hold on. Like, and you can see that there's something ticking in that CGI baby's brain. And I loved that. Like that little beat of like, oh, there's something in there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it plays out great. Man, I am so glad that upon revisiting the movie, because I liked it, but talking about it and really going through it has only made me appreciate the movie more.
Yeah.
It's definitely, again, it's in my top 10. And I know we've avoided talking about it. I'm rather glad. There's a lot of people who are talking like, oh, this is going to save the MCU. I don't care. I
just like a good movie.
I like a good movie. Dr. Doom's at the very end. Apparently we're going to see them in Doomsday. I don't love that. I don't care about the Avengers.
There was one piece I feel like the movie was missing, because they were teasing Latveria throughout.
Yeah.
But when it came down to like, and Stefan and I talked about this in the car, one thing that we felt like could be really good here was that what if there was just like some small like problem when they're trying to build all that shit, and it's like, what if they were lacking a resource? And then out of nowhere, they like, they just get like a massive shipment of this resource, everything they need from Latveria. Because while Doom is a petty bitch, he would do everything he could to save the Earth.
So that is an interesting point, but the issue you would have ultimately run into is that creates a plot point, a point of intrigue that would never get resolved within the movie. And that's the kind of shit that sometimes I'm okay with that if we're talking about a something that's not supposed to be standalone. This felt way too standalone. Now,
but it's not going to be, especially with where that cliffhanger mid-credit sequence leads us.
It's not going to be, but it would have.
I think it would have been a nice beat, like, because Doom, for all intents and purposes, while he is an egotistical, even megalomaniacal type character,
he doesn't want the world to end.
Yeah, he's ultimately been portrayed in the comics, at least, as a very good leader for his people.
Yeah, he's evil, but also he's complicated. Dr. Doom's a complicated and very interesting character, and I am hopefully we'll get. I don't know how. I feel like this movie is. Man, I'm not looking forward to the Avengers movie at all. I'd like. I'm not even holding out hope.
My breath is so baited on that one, where it's like, man, I don't want to be disappointed. I want to like it. I don't want to dislike movies.
No.
But everything is like, I don't know. First of all, Robert Downey Jr. is definitely going to have, like, if he shows up with the beard, I'm going to be like, no, fuck you. Change the face at least. Like, if he shows up with like a John Waters pencil mustache, like, gross, ew, bad guy. Like,
yeah, I have no idea. Like, they're going to do some weird shit. I don't know why. Like, it's just, it's such a... I hate.
It's a mixed bag of a cliffhanger for sure, because it's like, what's coming next, but you just saw this beautiful movie in a vacuum. It's like, oh right, there is more.
That's actually the problem. We have no idea what the fuck is coming next, and
exactly.
That's actually kind of
because you know that Doomsday is coming next. You know that's coming next, but you don't know what that is, and part of you dreads it.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, so when the Avengers was coming, we kind of had an idea of what was happening. We like, okay, this is going to be the movie where we get the Avengers together. Who are the Avengers? Who are the Avengers right now?
In this one, you've like what's been announced for Doomsday is just like, it sounds like a clusterfuck, because you have like 20th Century Fox X-Men in the cast. You have like some of the Avengers, kinda. But
and last time we knew who the Avengers were, there's 2 Avengers now.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
And then, of course, you're going to have the Deadpool cameo where Thor cries over him, because that's going to be in there somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be a mid-credits break or if it's just going to be a one-off joke in the movie, but that's where that's going to be for sure, unless it's a Secret Wars thing. I don't fucking know.
Who knows? And this is why, this shit right here is why I hate multiverse bullshit. And apparently they're going to try and get away from it. which good, but they're also talking about a reboot. And frankly, yeah, I'm sorry, but at this point, reboot this
reset,
shit.
Reset, whatever. I don't care. I loved this movie because you can watch it in a vacuum and be happy. It is a good Fantastic Four movie. It's one of the things I really, talking about like the multiverse bullshit. I like the way Gunn is doing it, where just label other movies Elseworld stuff and then have your mainline thing. The Batman, Elseworld. Cool. Whatever. You can do different stories with different characters and not have it be in universe.
So, by the way, there was so much stuff. I had no idea. And I should really do more of my research before we do these. Speaking about that Superman one, I had no idea that Gunn had 1 billion movies already lined up. I had no idea that Supergirl was in the bag.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, that's nuts. We haven't even gotten a teaser. We got a poster.
And we got like we got a full script for Clayface that's ready to go into production. And one thing
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Mike Flanagan is one of my favorite writers in terms of like screenwriting right now. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I loved from an interview that I heard from Gunn where he's like, look, you can like, we don't have a style guide for the DCU because look at all these different comics. A Superman comic does not read the same as a standalone Batman comic. And like same with Swamp Thing or Constantine. Everything has its different vibe. Did my pronunciation throw you off for a second?
Yes.
That's technically how it's pronounced.
What?
But, yep.
Okay. I don't believe you, but go on.
Yeah. He's like, Clayface is going to be a horror movie. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm in for that.
The moment I heard that it was supposed to be a horror film, I'm like, it reminded me of The Invisible Man. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, please.
Which it's supposed to. It's like, it's very much a take on like Boris Karloff being a monster man, a man of 1,000 faces.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Because I want these films to have their own feeling, it's sort of one of the reasons where like everyone was like, oh yeah, have Batman crossover with Superman. And I'm like, I don't know if I need to see that.
But a different Batman with a different vibe, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with Brave and the Bold. I don't know who they'll cast. And
I can't believe that the first Batman we're gonna get in Gunn's universe is gonna be one with Damian Wayne. Crazy. Mm-hmm. And I'm on board. I want to see it. I'm so curious to see what they do with that because
Batman is great in a wolf and pup setting.
We haven't gotten a Batman movie with a Robin, a real Robin. I'm not talking about Dark Knight Rises. Real Batman with Robin since Batman and Robin, and that movie's garbage.
Yeah, Batman works great with a wolf and pup dynamic. Like
yes.
that Kratos and boy, that Joel and Ellie. So I'm down for that story. I'm interested to hear who they get for Batman. I don't know if it's already been announced. Maybe somebody already knows, but who fucking knows?
I do think that Gunn said that he's got somebody locked in for that.
In my heart of hearts, I really someday want to see Jensen Ackles play Batman. And I feel like if you're doing Dad Batman, he's at the right point where he can do that in his career. And part of me kind of hopes.
I think Jensen Ackles played Batman in something.
He did. He was the Batman in The Red Hood.
No, he was the Red Hood in the Red Hood.
Oh yeah, he was Red Hood in the Red Hood, but he played He played Batman. I feel like in one of like the New 52 things, didn't he?
He did. He played him in one of the
one of the New 52 continuity, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I love him as an actor. I loved him as Red Hood. And like I can honestly see him as a live action Batman, kind of like how we got Ben Affleck. I think he can do it.
He's got that same kind of build, and in a like cartoonier world where like metahumans are a thing, I can see him pulling it off.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's the direction they'll go. That's just my fan cast.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm also very curious what they're going to do with Damian Wayne, because that's going to be very
Timothée Chalamet once again.
Oh my God! Honestly, I am very much surprised that we have like Timothée Chalamet has. I'm sure fan castings have been throwing around him as an older Dick Grayson, but
he could fucking be Nightwing for sure.
No, I can see it. I can absolutely see it. We'll have to see. It's
but either way,
yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Steak. Fantastic Four, great, loved it. What did you guys think of the Fantastic Four?
Yes.
That's an important question.
Tell us down in the comments. Especially, I want to know how y'all felt about their integration of Silver Surfer, because again, for me, it was the weakest part of the film. I'm curious if anybody else kind of shares that, or if Silver Surfer in this film really hit for you. I'd like to know why.
And are any of you out there like, super hopeful for like Doomsday? Like, I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I don't think I think at the worst it's going to be middling.
So,
but I don't have high hopes.
Yeah,
I'm curious what everybody out there is thinking.
I have no hopes for it, but I'm also like, I don't care. It's easier for me not to care. Yeah. But I am curious. Y'all, please tell me your hopes for Doomsday. Tell me what makes you think this could be good.
What are your dreams?
Yeah. I'm very curious to get people's responses on this.
And with that, this has been the Talkcast Pod Show. I'm bad at sign outs.
Thank you, everybody, and later.